You are now listening to the Xola Music Podcast with your host, Ian Roberts.
Welcome, everybody, to the Xola Music Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Roberts. So we're live with Jimmy Carter, bass player from Chicago. He is endorsed by Aguilar. He is the bass player for the hit Fox TV show Empire, and he is also bassist for, I believe it's the largest church in Illinois, Willow Creek Church. So, Jimmy.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
It's going well. How are you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Glad to be with you, man.
Yep, likewise. So, Jimmy, can you fill in the blanks on that intro? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, man, I was born and raised here in Chicago. Great town for music. Anybody who's trying to do anything musically, play, sing, dance, it's a great town for that. And born and raised here. Grew up in church, which is another amazing place for any, aspiring, artist, musician. And just grew up in church, man, and I didn't start playing until right before college, right into college. So I'm a late bloomer, but again, I was just blessed to be in a good place at a good time. I had some mentors, man, who were willing to, kind of cuff me, take me under their wings, and impart a lot of things into me, at an early start, and it's just a cool thing, man. And the way the African American church process works, or the atmosphere, is just like, man, you gotta get it, or move out the way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like that pressure, man. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's that pressure, man, to kind of make it happen, man. So which is good, I think. In some cases, I think it's a healthy fire under you to kind of hone your craft.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a product of that. And I went on from there to play for a lot of community choirs, some recording choirs and everything. Worked with Percy Gray and Gerald Gray from New Direction and Chicago Mass and Joshua Troop. I played specifically for Joshua Troop. And I think I did a European tour with Chicago Mass a few years back.
Nice.
And then from there, man, just a lot more freelance stuff, and Lord led me to, through some mutual friends, to meet the worship pastor at Willow Creek Community Church in South Barrington, Illinois, suburb of very affluent suburb of Chicago, and man, it was just, I think it was just kind of the evolution of not only just myself as a musician, but just as a believer, from a spiritual standpoint. It was kind of the next step for me, and a lot of growth happened, like I said again, musically and spiritually, after meeting those people, after becoming, familiar and friends with the people from Willow Creek. It's been an amazing experience. It's opened up a lot of doors.
Oh, that's great.
And man, doing, in between there, doing some records and just a few things here and there.
I was blessed enough to have sit in with Jimmy a couple years ago when he used to go to Willow Creek. I filled in for him at Bright Star Community Church. And it was very good. He's the first person that taught me how to really, really groove. I knew how to groove a little bit, but groove. This guy, master.
Yeah.
So Jimmy, what was your greatest musical moment?
Oh man, few of them. There are a few, man. When on your kind of in your journey, you have these milestone moments.
Yeah. What's one specifically, the big one?
One that sits with me right now. I got to Willow Creek, the church I play for. They had their 40th year church anniversary, and they actually booked United United Center to hold the service.
Oh, wow.
Where the Chicago Bulls play and the Blackhawks. And they actually sold out the United Center. Like, it was packed to the hilt. Like, literally, there was only the standing room. Even the standing room was occupied over the nosebleeds, like above the nosebleeds.
Oh, wow.
It was packed to the hilt. And so we had, like, this really cool, like, circular stage. And we had the whole team. There were 2 drummers, 2 bass players, probably about 4 or 5 guitar players, full band, all of the singers, a couple of singers from different campuses. They have like 8 different campuses in Chicago, in the Chicago area, surrounding the Chicago area. So we had a couple of the campus worship pastors come and sing with us. And so at the height of the worship set, we were singing the song, Lord, You Are Good, made popular by Israel Houghton. We're actually doing his arrangement of that. And so we, in the height of the song, we had 2 bass players. So myself and another good friend of mine named Sean Summer, amazing bass player, amazing just knowledge overall about just music and gear and just a lot of the technotronics behind just getting your sound right. Anyway, just amazing guy. So the 2 of us, they had like a dueling bass solo, center stage, 25,000 people screaming at us.
Wow.
And so I would start off with my solo, and then Sean came back and asked with his solo, and then we kind of did like a call and response and kind of dueling thing. It was so sweet. It was such a memorable moment. And of course, with the social media, kind of age we're living in, everyone had their phones out and everything. So I got tagged in a lot of posts, and just seeing myself and my buddy on the Jumbotron in the United Center, like literally a sold out United Center, was just big for me. It was a huge thing. I'd been to the United Center to see some pretty major artists, and it wasn't as many people as it was that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that was probably in recent time. That's probably like the thing that kind of sits with me, resonates with me the most. And then the crazy thing is, it was 25,000 people, but it was my church, so I felt like it was family, like 25,000 friends and family. It was a crazy feeling.
Well, that's amazing. Wow, great musical moment right there. I'm sure anybody would love to be a part of that. Now, you did mention that you knew through a mutual friend, which was great. So that you know that a lot of things come through people. You can't sit at home and practice all day and expect to.
You gotta get that.
Yeah.
Get out there in it.
Now, Jimmy, what was your worst musical moment, and how did you get through it?
That's another one where it's like I can't pinpoint one specific moment right away. Just different moments where you just know that you kind of need to, stay in the shed, whether it's like, being put in a situation where you're playing with a lot of, seasoned musicians, and you're kind of like, the new buck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, especially in church, you know what I mean? Not quite being as prepared or as seasoned as some of the guys who I had the honor of playing with, and just kind of remembering that feeling of not bringing it, or not having not giving it my all, or not having the wherewithal to kind of sit in that situation. Or then some nights at some gigs where like maybe some changes were getting at me, you know what I mean, and I wasn't quite making certain places at certain times, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just developmental moments that just make you want to go shed, man.
Yeah.
Make you want to go back and hone your craft, and I'll tell you a funny moment. Because I came up in church circles, gospel circles. It's a circuit where if you read, it's a plus, but it's not a mandatory thing. The gospel genre is more of an ear and a feel type of thing, inspiration type of thing. Even though I was in school at the time, I was in and everything, because I wasn't in situations that required me to read, I wasn't putting my reading to practical use, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like, I was learning to read. I was in school. I had my bass teacher, teaching me how to read and everything. And, I was doing my assignments, but I would go, I was working in the gospel circuit. So I got hired through a dance theater, contracted through a dance theater. I wasn't a part of the dance theater, but they hired me to do an event for them. They were doing like a celebration for the addition of a women's princess for the Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. And the head of the dance theater hired me. He actually was a teacher at the school that I was going at. I went to Columbia College. He was an instructor there, and he hired me to play with his dance theater for this, event. So I'm in the rehearsal, and again, coming from gospel circles, they give you the CD, you go home, you listen to the CD, and you show up to rehearsal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was what I was used to. So I showed up to rehearsal, and I'm expecting him to, drop a CD on my music stand, and we'll kind of listen to some songs and then play. And so, I got there early, tuned up and everything, and I'm warming up my fingers, and I'm playing all my cool chops and stuff, with all the, the seasoned musicians around. When you're young, you kind of want people to know you can play.
Yeah.
So I'm warming up and everything, doing all my cool stuff, and then he comes and drops a booklet in front of me, and it's the charts for the show. And I was like, literally my heart dropped.
Wow.
To my stomach. I was instantly nervous. It's like, wow, we're not going to listen to this stuff. It's like, man, it wasn't that type of gig. You know what I mean? So instantly, I was super nervous. It's like, man, I'm playing all of these riffs and all of these tricks and chops, and I'm going to fumble this gig because I have to read the whole gig. You know what I mean? I have to read the gig down. Yeah. But so it was a pseudo and almost embarrassing moment. But the cool thing was, like I said, I had been learning to read for a couple years before that. I just hadn't had to use it. So in that moment, I kind of honed everything that I'd been learning in those past couple years and lessons. And I got through the rehearsal. There were small moments, small fumbles, but nothing that plane crashed the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, it was just, I just thought about, I still sit back and think about the plane crash that could have been. I hadn't been trying to, if I hadn't had any sort of, training for, reading music.
Yeah, so there you have it, musicians. You always need to know to learn music. You'll never know when you need it.
You never know. There are certain skills that I think are consistent with playing in gospel church settings. But then with me going to school, there are other skills that are, honed and gained that just open you up to different avenues of work. So, I heard older musicians say, man, look, you want to be able to do it all. It's just like, okay, yeah, you can say I'm a gospel musician, but does that mean if, you get the call to do a jazz set, you're not going to go make the jazz money because you're a gospel musician? Or if, the country guy calls you, you're not going to go make, the money because, you're not a country musician.
Yeah.
So it's just, you want to kind of, exhaust all avenues available to you if you can. Get it all, get everything you can.
Good advice for the young musicians. Any of you all listening, always learn. Both ways, both sides.
Always learning.
Yep. Ear and reading.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, even, at a professional level, there's always room for growth, man. I still don't feel like I have arrived or attained it all. I'm still trying to grow in different areas, man. I think as long as you're, anything you're doing in life, no matter what season you are in that journey, man, there's always room for growth and always the opportunity to learn and make yourself better. I heard Marcus Miller tell a story about one of his last shows he played with Miles Davis. And this is Miles Davis towards the end of his career. And he was sitting in sound check, and he turned to one of the other musicians like, hey, man, look at this I just found the other day. Just little trail he learned on his horn. And it was like, here's Miles freaking Davis, this legend, who's still learning, who's still growing, who's still grasping at, evolution and growth. So it's just like at any level you still have room to grow.
Miles Davis still learning in his late career. That's crazy. So
yeah, man.
When you first started out in the music, how'd you buy your bass? How'd you fund that?
When I first started, of course I was 18 years old, and I was 17. It was my senior year in college, in high school, and I wanted to play bass. I had this experience, and I knew I wanted to play. I'll tell you about that later. Just like my calling to play bass. But my uncle is my dad's brother is kind of a gearhead, and just accumulates a lot of gear. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Collectible stuff. He just kind of has a knack for that. And so I told my dad I wanted to play, and so my dad's a practical guy. He was like, well, look, we'll have your uncle, loan us a bass. He has a few of them. And he's like, because I don't want to spend the money, and it's going to be sitting in the corner somewhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my uncle loaned me the bass, and I had my first lesson from a guy who he moved to LA. So I had my first lesson from him, and then he was kind of the only musician I had direct access to at the time through another family member that moved to LA. But I had my uncle's bass, and after I graduated high school, my yearning to play and learn bass became stronger and stronger. So I had an internship that I worked in the summer, and I started putting in extra hours, to save up money, because I would take the bus to Sam Ash just to hang out, just to go to the bass room and listen to the other guys play, and just play on the different instruments and everything. So I asked one of the guys who worked there, what would be a good bass for a beginner's bass that in a beginner's price range. And he showed me one and showed me the price. It was a little over a couple $100. And so I went and I saved up. I worked my tail off for about 2 weeks, mm-hmm. and saved up my check, man. And I went right back to Sam Ash and bought that bass. This was back when I'm probably dating myself. This is back when minimum wage was, I think, like $4.75 an hour or $4.25 an hour or something like that. Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah.
It may have been $5, but I don't think it was. It was a while back. But yeah, so this was like '99. So this is a while back. But yeah, so that's how I bought my first bass, man.
Great. So if you don't have a piece of gear, just save your money and buy it. No excuses.
Money, man. No excuses, man. If it's what you want to do, man, it's just you kind of save your penny. Just like we save to do anything else we want to do. Yeah, mm-hmm. If it means something to you, you kind of make provision.
Yeah. Yep. Now, Jimmy, I'm sure people want to hear about Empire. How is it? How did you get on the show, and how's it being on the show?
It's been an amazing experience. That's been another amazing experience. I didn't want to limit it to being a musical experience because I think it's like, again, it's kind of transcendent. You know what I mean? I'm hired as a musician. I'm hired to act like I'm a musician on the show, which is ironic because I actually am a musician. But yeah, I mean it's transcendent to me because I'm literally bumping shoulders and shaking hands and cracking jokes and spending time with the people I grew up watching as a kid. You know what I mean? Like Taraji P. Henson was like she was Yvette from Baby Boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Terrence Howard was, he was from Best Man and, all of these other great movies. And I got to meet one of my other, movie idols, Tay Diggs, amazing experience. I've been trying to transition into acting. I actually took some acting courses while I was at Columbia studying music. Just another kind of not so well-known love of mine. But it's another love of mine. You know, I love film, love, movies and, acting. So 2013, I decided to just start kind of, getting my feet wet, dabbling in it. And I did a couple of, projects where I was an extra. The movie Divergent, Chicago Fire. But this, at that point, I saw that it's really a rite of passage for, actors, actresses. The extras game is rough, and it makes or breaks a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because, you put in all of these hours, you're not paid the greatest, and you may not end up with any, face time in the film. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what happened to me. I've been doing I did a lot of shoots for Divergent, and I was a speck in the background. The only reason I knew it was me is because I remember walking across that set like 50 takes.
Wow.
And so it was like a 13-hour shoot. It was crazy.
Sheesh.
And, no FaceTime, and I don't remember whether I actually got FaceTime in Fire or not, because I forget where the camera was placed in the shot. But anyway, so it was just, I said to myself, and I said to God, I said, well, God, if you have this for me, Lord, if you have this for me, the next thing I do has to count. I'm not 22 anymore, and I'm really, deep into what I do musically, and I really don't have the luxury of, the time as, a young 20-something who's on fire and, can spend the time, sacrifice the time, doing a lot of the extras work, you know what I mean? I'm just not at that place in my life where I could afford to do that anymore. So I said, Lord, if you have this for me, the next thing I do has to count. And so I kind of laid back. I really wasn't searching for a lot of extras work as I was before. And then the show Empire came out. And I don't know what it was. Like I said, the only people I knew on the show was Terrence Howard and Taraji. And I mean, in terms of, recognized in terms of stars. And I knew Timbaland was the supervising music producer for the show when it opening season. But other than that, I really didn't know a lot about the show. But when I was seeing the trailers and the hype was coming out about the show, I don't know, I felt as though I should be involved with the show. Like there was this kind of, inward, like man, somehow I have to be involved with the show. Especially knowing that it was being filmed here in Chicago. So went through the whole first season. I watched the show, and I had a friend who I recognized in the finale of the first season. She was actually a good friend of mine. Her and her twin sister were good friends of mine in Columbia, and she was on the finale. So season 2 comes around, and I watched the first show. Sometimes how you watch some of your favorite shows, and the writing gets a little like crazy, and like just it's just like, okay, it's so much happening, and it kind of like I kind of like there were a bunch of shows I was trying to watch, so I kind of fell behind. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, there's so much happening, and I kind of fell behind for a couple of episodes, and I seen the premiere of the second season, and I kind of fell behind. And like I said, I told the Lord, the next thing I do is to count. It's been probably a year since I've done anything, and I just woke up to a text and then a call. My friend who was on the show, she played drums. She said, James, they call me James, it's cool. There's an opening. They need a bass player for the band on Empire, and I gave the casting guy your name.
Oh wow!
So he's going to give you a call pretty soon. He called me like 5 minutes later.
Wow!
And so he tells me that he got my name from my college buddy, and he said the picture that you sent was kind of obscure though, and the head director literally eyed everybody who was on screen. So like every extra that was on screen, she personally handpicked them. Every piece of clothing, every piece of furniture, she okayed everything. So he says, yeah, the director wants a better feel for your look. So I sent him some pics that I had of my own, and he called me back in like 10 minutes. Yeah, the director loves your look. She wants you to come in and do these shoots, so it's about seeing if you're available. And so I told him, man, whatever you guys, throw out, let me know. I'll make myself available. And it's funny because at the time, I was doing the rehearsals for the United Center service.
Oh.
So it was just crazy timing because, both of those things were going on simultaneously. And so he calls me back. He says, well, yeah, you're going to be shooting with Alicia Keys. I'm like, what?
Whoa.
Alicia Keys is one of the guests on the show. And because my amp was right behind her piano, I was in all of her shots.
Nice. A lot of FaceTime there.
Man, a lot of it. So it's just like, and I remember running back and forth, leaving the set, going to these United Center rehearsals, and I was on set and I almost got misty-eyed because I was super busy and there was a lot happening, but it was like I was busy doing everything that I'd always dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I thought about what I said to God. I said, well, man, the next thing has to count. And he puts me on the #1 new TV show behind Alicia Keys.
That's crazy. It's all about timing.
All about timing and faith, man, and just having faith and holding God accountable to what He's able to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think God, He likes it when we do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of his funny sense of humor. He's like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, faith, man. Faith is very important, especially as a musician.
Faith is very important.
Yeah.
Very important, man.
That's great.
There are up times, and where things, the phone won't stop ringing, and then there are times when, you're waiting on the phone to ring. So, and, just the faith that God makes, provision in all of those times is, kind of what holds you over, man.
That's great. Yeah. So, and Jimmy, I know Jimmy, he's not that young, but he's not that old too. So, a lot of people, they've been on tour, in their early 20s, sometimes their teens, and I'd see it too. And then, it took him a little longer to get his break. And that's a testament to, Jimmy's faith and perseverance. So that's great.
I was just thinking about that, man. It's God's timing is divine, man. And I'm in a place in my life where I just truly believe that. And you can't measure your life's clock by someone else's. You know what I mean? That's with whatever you have, whether it's your career, whether it's your love life or whatever. Things happen for you when they're supposed to happen for you. As long as you're doing everything you believe that you're supposed to be doing, and you're in the place that you're supposed to be. Everything happens for us when it's supposed to happen. And I thought about that. Like a lot of my colleagues, a lot of my good friends were, like you say, touring in their late teens and early 20s and going around the world. And it happened for me a lot later than that. One thing, like I said, I was a late bloomer. I didn't get my consistent series of lessons until I got to college. So I literally really didn't know how to play until I got to school. Until I was, like 18, 19 years old before I could really kind of play. And so, again, in comparison to a lot of my colleagues, I was a late bloomer. A lot of those guys were doing their thing at like 13 years old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just, but God has a way of, redeeming time and, bringing all things to the same level, so it got to a place where I was running behind a lot of my colleagues, and then, sooner than later, I was, on the same sets, playing for some of the same artists as some of my colleagues, So it happens, man. It definitely happens if you stay with it.
So, Jimmy, what are you working on now?
Oh, man, I've just been in and out of town, man, and it's been crazy but great. was able to serve with my church, with Willow Creek Church at Angola Prison Ministry. It's like the biggest maximum security prison, but it's a huge faith-based Christian organization that's growing there, and we're trying to help promote that, and a lot of guys' lives are being changed, so I was involved with that, and literally just a few hours before I left to go there, I just got off a plane. I was in Miami Gardens with Pastor Smokie Norful, and we're still promoting his latest album. And it was crazy because I didn't realize, they just gave me the date, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm available. I'll be there. And we get there, and I walked past this young lady in the hotel, and I looked at her. I'm like, she looked familiar, but I just kept walking. And so we're on our trailer, and I'm hearing what I thought is the radio or like some XM, radio site. And Esperanza Spalding is on there playing bass and scatting, doing her thing. And so we go to sound check. As we walk to the stage, I realized it's actually her on stage sound checking. We're hearing her feed in our trailers. And she sounds just as prolific live as she does on a record. She's unbelievable. So and this was the young lady I walked past in the hotel. She's in the same hotel with us. It was crazy. So everybody was on that ticket, man. Pastor Norful opened up the day, but like Common, The Roots, Jill Scott, Andre Day, Morris Day and the Time, Esperanza Spalding, they were all on the ticket. And it was just a cool thing, man. I got to see all those guys as I was playing with Pastor Norful for that show. It was a really, really, really cool show. Really cool moments during the set. I enjoyed going out with him a lot. I've been playing with him almost 3 years now, and it's been a blessing. It's been a huge blessing. He's a great guy. Learning a lot from him.
That's awesome. That's great. And where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram. That's kind of like my social vice, if you will. I'm on Instagram at JCFuture25, and you can also find me on Twitter at 1300JC.
Okay, great.
And that's where I am, man.
Anything else you'd like to add?
You can also find footage of me and shows with me playing live with the Jeff Gibbs Quartet. So anything Jeff Gibbs music, that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Look up Jeff Gibbs music, and most of the time you'll find me with him. That's my buddy, and he's doing some amazing things too. So looking forward to doing more things with him. You can find me with him as well. Great.
On that note, thank you, Jimmy, for being on the show. You dropped a lot of dimes, man. I'm sure a lot of people are helped from what you said and will take your advice and run with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, man. It means a lot, bro. It means a lot, man.
Thank you. You're welcome. There you have it, everybody. That was Jimmy Carter from the Fox hit show Empire, Willow Creek Church, and new endorsee of Aguilar, Active Pedal.
Yes. Well, I endorse the pedal and the amps.
And the amp. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, full artist.
Full artist.
They got me. They stuck their fingers in me.
Whoa, the full artist endorsement. There you have it, everybody. Thank you, Jimmy, for being on the show. You have a great day, Jimmy.
You too, man. Take care.
No problem. Bye. If you like the music you heard on the show, you can always go to XolaMusicPublishing.com. That is XolaMusicPublishing.com. You can find music for all your musical needs, from TV to film to studio musicians. That is XolaMusicPublishing.com.